back again with Astrology with Shannon, the past lives edition, and today we are going to focus on Venus/Libra, specifically in the 12th house. I'm pretty sure you can tell based off of the last video compared to this one. I'm in a new space, a new location. I just moved in with my aunt. I have a very big family. Sorry, I'm laughing because my aunt has a dog and a cat, and they're both literally sitting on the steps behind me watching me record this. So if you hear any little pitter-pattering or whatever, it's them. Back to what I was saying. We're going to do Venus, specifically Libra, in the 12th house. I've already covered Venus in the 12th house, and I will talk a little bit about some about Greek mythology, but not what I said in my first Venus in the 12th house video, and that was specifically about Taurus. See, sorry, these are the pets. All the noise that you hear are the pets. So without further ado, let's get started with the Greek mythology first. So in the first Venus in the 12th house video, I talked about how Aphrodite was born, and I really strongly recommend that you guys go and watch that video because it perfectly explains in a way how she was born, how that relates to the pain that comes with having Venus in the 12th house. It's a very serious placement as compared to like a Venus in the 5th house of like romantic passions and like creativity. What I want to focus on when it comes to Aphrodite in this video is how Libra specifically is more so about romantic relationships as well as business relationships, but I tend to focus more on the romantic side of it because Libra is all about romance, but finding harmony and balance within that romance. Always happen to balance out the scales. So people are usually associating Libra with peace, and I think evolved Libra placements do bring peace and are peace focused. However, especially when I first got into astrology, I just felt as though there wasn't enough about the flaws that Libra and Venus bring. And it's very important for me because I do have a Libra moon, and I feel as though people don't acknowledge how much Venus and Mars are almost the same. Like, of course, they're very different. Mars is more about aggression and people associate it with masculinity, and Venus is more about beauty and peace and harmony, and people usually associate that with femininity. However, they both have their soft and their, I guess I would say, dark sides, or flawed sides. So with Aphrodite, she did not like competition. Venus placements tend to not like competition, and comparing themselves can become a very big thing. So for instance, Aphrodite had like Paris, who was, I guess, another Greek god, decided that he was going to decide on who was the most beautiful goddess. It was either going to be Aphrodite, Athene, or Hera, Zeus's wife. And because Aphrodite didn't like competition, she kind of did what Libra's placements tend to do, or Venus placements tend to do, which is use strategy as a way to get what they want, or at least to be the one that is the most beautiful or the most seen in that moment. Whatever it is that brings them happiness or peace, they compete for it in a very strategic way so that, one, they don't get found out and caught, and two, so that people don't view them in an aggressive manner. So she cheated, or I shouldn't say cheated, she strategized by using a magic girdle, which essentially made men flock to her and allowed her to enslave them in a way. It was like this magical way to have men follow head over heels for her. So that was one way that she kind of won this competition, or this beauty contest. She also did bribery, and that's another thing that Libras can do. And it doesn't even have to be like legitimate bribery, like I'm going to pay for your love and affection, but almost in a manipulative way, like people pleasing. I feel like a lot of people don't acknowledge that with people pleasing, it's all about molding other people's perspective of you. So yeah, you are a kind person. You can be a kind person, and Libras are tend to be associated with consideration, because you need consideration in relationships. But in addition to you being kind or wanting to keep the peace, it's mostly about you also wanting people to think that you are this great person. And if you continue to do these nice things, then you won't have to worry about your reputation being tarnished. Which is also cool too, because when we talk about reputation, especially when it comes to achievements or your career, we're always talking about Capricorn in the 10th house. But it's also important to note that when Libra is in Saturn, or when Venus and Saturn come together, yeah, you'll experience delays, and you might experience your beauty possibly diminished, or maybe it's more difficult for you to express yourself in these ways. However, they are also really close friends because of how strategic Venus can be, and because Venus also cares about how they come across, more so image-wise. Venus and Saturn pretty much go hand in hand. So the way that Aphrodite manipulated the situation was by offering Helen of Troy to Paris, which causes the entire Trojan War. So that's what's really important to note, is that Venus, as much as it can be about beauty and aesthetically pleasing things, and more on the Taurus side of indulgences and sensual things that bring you happiness, it also can be very messy, okay? If we're talking about in a Taurus sense, you can overdo it with indulgences and essentially never really grasp the complexities of life or understand things that Libra understands more, like being considerate of one another and finding meaning within the beauty versus just indulging in the beauty. And then Libra, not liking others to be maybe more graceful than you, or feeling like people don't like you as much as they may like others, and stuff like that. Okay, so that noise that's happening is leaking from upstairs to down. I don't know how that's happening, but my aunt is currently not home, so I'm just going to continue this video and then call her right after. I did put some pots down, so I wasn't completely neglectful, but this is crazy. And I just finally got the energy to do this, so I really have to get this out for you guys. So what we can discuss next now will be specifically what Libra in the 12th house represents, and then we'll move over into the past lives. So I'm not actually sure if I mentioned this in the first Venus video that I did, but I'm gonna not say the same thing, or try to not say the same things I said in the first video, and talk more about I guess the woes, or the true meaning of what Venus in the 12th house means. Because in the first video, I think I talked a lot about how a person sacrifices a lot for love and tends to go after the criminals, or the people who are not considered lovable in greater society's eyes. And how the 12th house and Pisces or Neptunian energy is all about unconditional love, and having Venus here, that's pretty much what that is. They are typically the ones to chase after those who are maybe emotionally unavailable, or connect with those that are considered the unlovables or untouchable individuals. And I'm kind of happy that I mentioned the messiness that Venus can bring, because the beauty that comes with that, and that's why I think it's very necessary, and it's perfectly okay for Libras to they have to accept their flaws and not focus so much on people pleasing and trying to get people to like them, versus it's more important for them to be themselves, and if they're messy, to express that messiness. Because the thing about Venus in the 12th house is that it's really big on being messy or chaotic, problematic, and growing into something that is more beautiful than before. So essentially needing pain in order to grow, or needing pain in order to get to the peace and the love that they desire. Again, not sure if I mentioned this in the first Venus video, but this house in Pisces, as the sacrifice or the sacrificial sign, it's about transcending beyond the self and merging with another, or merging with more than just one thing, but with everything. Sorry. And this merging of self and this unconditional love is exactly why having your Venus in Pisces makes it exalted. Venus is exalted in Pisces because Pisces is all about unconditional love and the sacrifice that comes with love. And it's very natural for Pisces and for Neptunian energy to be foggy in that way and to really fall into the romance of love, because Venus is all about the romantic love and sensual side of love. It is also important again to mention how it is also the place where love can be hidden, or all kinds of things related to Venus can be hidden. So if we're talking about beauty and aesthetically pleasing surroundings or careers that are associated with that, maybe you are somebody behind the scenes. Maybe you're a makeup artist for a popular celebrity and everybody loves that person's makeup, and they don't have to really see you to know you. Or you're a costume designer, you're the one that makes the whole set for a film, or creates the costumes, or puts the costumes together for whatever film you're working on as the costume designer. All things that I wouldn't even call it necessarily hidden, but it's not directly in your face. You wouldn't necessarily know who created something that is aesthetically pleasing to you, like a museum or a building of any kind. If you're an architect, somebody would have to research to find out who actually did it. It's not something that you just know right off the bat. Versus a Venus in the first house, it's right in your face. Like if you have a Libra or a Taurus rising, you are typically very beautiful, very proportionate, maybe extremely attractive. You give off something that exudes beauty and charm. So you understand how that works. It is also about, if you are an artist, or maybe you don't know that you have this deep knowing artistically, or you don't know that you have these great talents when it comes to beauty and making things look amazing. You find this out if maybe you're in jail and you develop a hobby or a skill from being in jail all that time. Or if you have mental health issues and you end up in a mental health institution and you discover that you're really great at taking photographs while you're in this institution, it is possible that this placement in particular will have skills involving beauty and love and connection. You have skills in these areas that are discovered within institutions, because the 12th house also represents institutions such as prisons and hospitals and things of that nature. And finally, we can now dive into past lives. So if you have a Libra in your 12th house, your past life debt is, or your past life karma is basically you possibly being, if it was a business partnership, you were irresponsible and harmful toward your partner or toward your business partner that messed up their lives, their livelihood, messed up their money. And it could also be a situation where you were in a marriage and whatever you did, whether you were abusive toward that partner emotionally, physically, or you just in general were not a good partner to your spouse, that is what your debt is all about. Your karmic debt is about in this lifetime. So, and it also, obviously, with every single placement, it doesn't all have to be severe. And I also say with this placement, the severity of having Venus in the 12th house is the idea of sacrificing to the point of death in order to be with somebody that you love. So anytime that you see those couples on the news, or that man that killed his entire family and the whole time he had a girlfriend, stuff like that, that is like severe when it comes to Venus in the 12th house. But it could also just be like you just were not a good husband, you were not a good wife, you didn't consider this person's feelings, you didn't consider a lot of things. And honestly, it kind of, which I'm not even going to say the celebrity's name, but I noticed that a lot of celebrities that have this placement or have a lot of Libra in their chart, they're just not great with monogamy. But I feel like they charm their way into the lives of people who normally wouldn't really consider being in an open relationship, or maybe they don't do it in a way that is actually fair to both of the partners. I don't know, there's always just a level of betrayal I find when I notice certain Libras. Obviously it's not all Libra placements that are like this. I'm talking about the unevolved. If you were an unevolved Libra placement, I feel like having your cake and eating it too is a very, very big obstacle that they struggle with when it comes to relationships. I rarely find that Libras can be monogamous. I'm sure they exist, I'm sure they're out there, but a lot of the ones that I know personally, and obviously celebrities that you see in the media, it's rare that you see them actually be monogamous. So that's a serious one. And then of course with business partnerships, maybe you screwed your partner over and they didn't get their cut of the money or their cut of the business like you promised. All because, you know, once again, people pleasing and telling them one thing but not really being upfront in the beginning just to avoid confrontation, because that is a very, very big thing. And, you know, Venus being in the 12th house where you're trying to merge with one another and it's about unconditional love, that's really, I think it can be difficult with this placement, because you're talking about a sign Libra and a planet that aims to please at all costs, even if it means lying, whereas the 12th house is about, I know that you're a liar and I still love you. So it's not really a hidden fact. This is the house where everything is hidden. So when you merge with someone and they have this type of planet there, you're gonna see some of the uglier sides of Venus that the rest of the world can't see. So that's why I feel like this can be a really difficult placement, and why the secrets can be very detrimental. I'm just gonna end this video now because the noises, I just can't. Stop, Loki! God! I'm just gonna end this video now because the dog is losing his mind. If you made it to the end, thank you very, very much. I'm sorry again for the noise, and I will be back for the next past live videos, which will be Scorpio in the 12th house. I'm actually really excited to do my research on this one. Hope everything made sense, and I'll see you again. Bye.